Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, Luana Ribeira here. And with me today, I'm really, really excited because I have a very special guest. This is Dmitry Badiarov. And Dmitry has an incredible story. I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to let him explain. But he is a very, very successful violinist who had to take a major pivot in his business. And now he's created tons of success in this business. And I'm really excited to have him on today. Hi, Dmitry.
Hello, Luana. Thank you very much for having me on this show. I'm really excited to share with you my message with you and with your audiences, naturally, with my audiences as well. So let's crack on. Let's do it.
It's so good to have you on. I think you are fabulous, Dmitry. You've had such amazing success recently, and you've just got such a great vibe about you. So I'm really excited about this. So the first thing that I would love for you to share is your journey. Can you tell us about what you went through and what's led you up to this point today?
Oh, brilliant. So you introduced me so nicely, and that introduction made me feel so good. Goodness. I am rather a violin designer, violin maker these days, and a mentor, business coach, more than a violinist. But you are 100% right. I used to be a concert violinist. I was blessed to work with absolutely amazing musicians. I was a member of a couple of absolutely incredible groups, La Petite Band, orchestra, Baroque orchestra from Belgium, and Richard Carcansor, another very small chamber music ensemble of stellar quality, also in Belgium. And I happened to travel all around the world with these two groups for 12 years non-stop. Lately, I do focus more on instrument making and mentoring, helping other instrument makers to build successful careers in instrument making. And yes, there was a pivoting point in my life when, following a major health crisis, I was no longer able to perform as a musician. And this is when my life radically changed. Yes, I had to figure out what I want to do with my life and what to do.
And how did that feel, Dmitry? You know, when you were absolutely, let's not play it down. You know, you were absolutely smashing it with your music career. And then to have those health conditions that meant that you couldn't carry on. How did that feel? And how were you able to move from that into, okay, I'm going to grasp this. I'm going to see this new direction, and I'm going to grasp that with both hands. How did that feel to you?
Well, that was a dramatic moment, I would say. It was a pretty dark moment, and I didn't have any clarity on that very moment. It was not something instant. It wasn't an immediate that, okay, well, here is a crisis. Here's a solution. That was not that kind of thing. So it took some time to digest that information. So, yeah, in the beginning, I felt like I just really wanted to die, because the doctor told me that, Dmitry, you'll be very lucky if you can learn how to speak normally, because at that moment, half of my body was just completely switched off. You know, it just felt like not my body, like a turkey from a butcher or something like that. Wow. I couldn't move half of my face. And so the doctor said, well, Dmitry, you would be very lucky if you learn to speak again. You'll be very lucky if you can walk normally. Playing the violin, probably, well, you never know, but yeah, who knows? So, well, that was when he said that, how would you feel in my place? At this moment, I thought, well, if I have to spend the rest of my life in bed, I better die, because I didn't want to become a burden on my family, and that was a very heavy feeling on that moment. Thanks to my wife, she actually encouraged me, and she said, "Well, Dmitry, don't think that way. First thing first, you need to recover. and things will be just right. It took a few days to digest all this new situation, but it was her actually who opened my eyes, because I wasn't able to see that on that moment. So still in bed, still I'm pretty much unable to move. It was her who told me, Dmitry, look, even if you cannot play the violin again, and if you cannot build those violins ever again, in that sense, you are not able to provide the income for the family, don't worry about this. What if you just write a book? What if you share your knowledge with other musicians? Can you imagine how many musicians you would be able to help if you just shared with them how you organized your own concerts and how you filled up your own venues and how you have done all that stuff? What if you shared with instrument makers how do you design instruments and create these results for musicians? There are lots of instrument makers who do not know how to do this. And I thought, wow, that is actually inspiring idea. Well, to be completely honest, I don't know if I really felt like wow on that very moment, but it was something inspiring. That's something that gave me hope. And I was tasting this idea and imagining this idea, and it slowly started really making sense. Indeed, I've realized at that moment that that big health crisis could have easily killed me, and we would not be talking today even. And that means that also decades of passion and dedication to music or instrument making, rediscovering the ancient master's thought process, learning how you market yourself as a creative, as an artist. All this had completely no meaning if I had just died and took all this to the grave with myself, which is what a lot of 18th or 17th century instrument makers did, because today nobody knows what they did to create those incredible instruments. And I thought, yeah, definitely, I want to share this. I have to share this. That would be my new passion. But then again, first things first, I absolutely switched off from the world. I completely unplugged. And for at least 6 months, I was just recovering. And that was a beautiful time, actually. It was then when I rediscovered passion for sailing. I was introduced to sailing boats. And we lived here in The Hague in front of the marina. And it was really brilliant, amazing. One morning I woke up and I look into the window, and in front I have seen a tall ship, like ancient, like Pirates of the Caribbean, like an 18th century tall ship, all made in wood. And I thought, wait a second, it can't be true. It's not a Photoshop, is it? No, actually, I'm seeing that. So before having breakfast, I went out to walk around that ship, and I have touched it with my hand. It was the real thing. And I happened to talk to a few crew members, and they invited me to go sailing with them. So this is how I rediscovered this. So it was a slow journey of healing, so to speak, and getting stronger in that idea that I had in my mind, that this idea that was really inspired by my wife, that I have to share. I want to. It's not that I have to. I want to. I really want to share my knowledge with others. And at a certain moment, I realized that actually I do not know how to do this, because I've never created any educational programs. I never held any courses. I've never marketed anything like that. So this is when I realized that I really have to invest in my self-education when it comes to presentation skills, speaking. How do you wrap your knowledge up? How do you actually get people commit and believe in that? And you get them to, you inspire them to get the results through the knowledge that you are sharing. All of this was complete terra incognita for me. So I had to, imagine someone with 2 conservatoire backgrounds. You go through this 5 years, 10 years, in my case, of conservatoire education. What do you learn? Of course, you learn how to play the violin. That's what typically musicians do. They go to conservatoire. They learn how to play the violin. By the way, it's the same for instrument makers. They go to a college to learn how to build instruments, but they have barely any training in sales or marketing, how you price your instruments. Artists, the same thing. They go and they to the college, they learn how to be artists, but how do you find people interested in your art? Wow, this is complete blank out. Normally speaking, it's complete blank out in their curriculum. And this was exactly the same thing for me. So all of these things that I've been learning were completely brand new. That was an amazing journey, and I was really blessed to meet a few outstanding people and outstanding world-class experts on all kinds of things: public speaking, sales, marketing, digital marketing, content marketing, Facebook ads, and on and on and on. And all these are absolutely 100% learnable skills, and any artist can learn those skills and apply in their career. And there is a huge benefit attached to this, because it is then the artist can become fully self-sufficient, way more independent from whatever is happening in the world. Like today, for example, no? So many musicians were completely wiped out by these months of lockdown. And I bet this is really hard situation. I can really imagine how they might feel in that situation, because that's how I felt when all of a sudden I was silenced as a musician, in 2013. So yeah, I'm so passionate today about transmitting this idea, this knowledge. This is the thing that I want to change in the world. I want to help those musicians who want to have control over their gift in their life. So there is a way to do that. And that is done through just adding a few extracurricular skills. And the truth is, hey, we go to conservatoire or art college or something, there is anyway some extracurricular stuff, but very little of that stuff actually helps us in our professional or personal life.
So you found your niche there. So it's safe to say that you went from absolute rock bottom. You wanted to die. You were at absolute rock bottom.
Yeah.
Then you had this realization, and then you started to think, okay, well, how am I going to do this? And you found your niche. So can we just jump into the present? So going from there, what successes have you had recently? Can you give us some specific results that you've had recently? And then what I'd like to do is go back and just talk about step by step about how you went from there to there.
Wow, that's a big question, actually, because there are so many things happening every day, actually. So
okay, so let's break it down. So first of all, what's happening right now? What wins have you had recently? Because I've seen you get a couple of big wins that I've just been cheering for you. So can you share those with us first of all?
Well, the big wins of this year, for example, this is a year on fire. I've been interviewed as a speaker, as a marketer, as a business person, as an entrepreneur by a huge number of important people, podcast hosts have been featured on absolutely insane number of news outlets, from NBC to WRAL to Daily Herald to Chicago Tribune. I don't remember so many other, the television, the Dutch TV, RTL, the TV, how it's done. So there will be 2 more programs coming out later this month or next month, maybe, on Dutch TV. So it was like really unbelievable in terms of earned publicity this year.
And you've had people coming to you. You've signed up high-end clients who have come to you saying, Dmitry, you're the king. You're all over the place.
I always ask them, how do you know about me? They usually laugh and say, what? You are all over the place, Dmitry. Yeah. So, but I do ask this question always. How do you know about myself? Because that always helps me to get a clear idea if that my particular person is coming through that marketing channel or this marketing channel or there. So I know what works best, what brings me most business. So that's why I ask this question. And yeah, sometimes, actually very frequently, maybe even it's correct to say almost always, people tell me, well, but you are all over the place. And that's actually true. That's 100% true. I'm all over the place. Yeah. And it's very hard to imagine how on planet Earth could this have ever happened. I'm like, there is no more introvert than myself on planet Earth. I'm not the kind of guy who loves to be in a spotlight, loves public speaking, loves being on a video all the time. I'm a shy guy. I want to be here at my bench, quietly making violins and not touching anyone. It's really
I am so glad that you've managed to override that and to, get yourself seen anyway. The main thing that I noticed through working with you, Dmitry, is that you've got this steely determination and you take action like on another scale. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. There's no question about it. You absolutely do it. You don't delay. You dive in and you make it work. And, your PR has worked very well for you as a way of amplifying what you're already doing. Because you've already got a strong marketing strategy and sales strategy in place.
Yes. So yes, PR is amazing thing because actually my PR journey started in 2006. So back then I briefly lived in Japan, and I got fired essentially. So after years in profession, all of a sudden I was redundant, and that was a tough moment. Today I'm so profusely grateful to all those people who found that I wasn't the right fit. Because that's thanks to these people. And I don't mean this from my all heart. I'm profusely grateful for them making me redundant. That was the best thing they could have ever done to me, because it was because of them I had to figure out how the life works and the value of entrepreneurial skill, the value of the mindset, taking action. And it was then when I had to figure out, okay, all right, so now I have no concerts whatsoever for the next few years. What shall I do about this? There must be a way to organize this, because these concerts, they are, in Tokyo, there are 2,000 concerts every year. Maybe it's even not an exaggeration. There is a friend of mine, French entrepreneur based in Tokyo. He did the marketing research and he told me, Dimitri, there are 2,000 concerts every night in Tokyo of all kinds, from traditional to jazz to classical, baroque, choirs, instrumental. So he did that research and I thought, wow, Jesus. How do we cut through that clutter and how do we get our message through and get some people in the hall? Wow, amazing stuff. And that was then I signed up for a marketing course for artists. I was looking for a marketing course for musicians and I didn't find any. So there was a marketing course for artists. How do you sell your sculptures or paintings or you name it? And I thought, well, the principles must be the same. So I did sign up, and there was one course that really resonated with me. So it really stuck in my mind, the importance of earned media. And there's something that the speaker, Ariana Godwin, she's absolutely amazing artist coach. I don't know what she's doing today, but in 2006, she almost saved my life. I mean, she really empowered me. She opened opportunities. There's one thing she told about PR, that it is not about you. It's about making your customers feel good that they have such a brilliant taste for choosing you, because now you are for them not someone absolute incognito and the best kept secret, but you have been actually featured here and there, and that means that they now have good taste about picking you.
I love that.
I thought, yeah, that's true. It's not about me because I don't really care about being yet on another big newspaper, but it's very important for me to be successful. For me, in order to be able to serve my people, it is important that these people feel good about choosing me, because the truth is, if they don't feel good, they will probably go to somebody else about whom they feel good. And the kind of thing that I want to transmit to other people when you want to get that earned media, it is powerful. And it's not so much about you, but about all these people that you want to serve, make them feel good.
Yes, I love that so much. Thanks for sharing that, Dmitry. So a lot of people, when they think about PR, showing up in the media, doing these interviews, a lot of people seem to think that the goal is to get into the media. But you and I both know, Dmitry, that the real magic happens afterwards with what you do with that media. So can you just share a bit about how you've been using your PR to be able to bring in these high-end clients?
Well, the PR, so the earned media, in my case, it is a part of my story. So every artist, I believe, must have their own story, because if they don't have a story, it's a big problem. 25 years ago, it was very, very easy. Today, when a lot of young artists or young entrepreneurs even might be looking at some of the elder established businesses or entrepreneurs or artists, like they might say, hey, but look, this world famous musician who is now 75 years of age, he's not present on Facebook, he's not doing videos, he's not doing this and that, and he's still very, very famous and very established. So that means that we should not be doing anything of this kind. Wow. And sadly, I hear that even from those artists who are sometimes established professors, and they would teach their students, no. You don't have to publicize. You don't have to promote yourself. You just have to be good professional, and fingers crossed, life will be fair to you. But we all know that life is not always fair. And the truth is these established businesses or established entrepreneurs, established artists who are today 60, 70, 80, 90 something, they have started their career in the time, well, it's just a very different time. They were definitely, if you speak about music, there was less competition. Look, if we speak about instrument making, today, a master craftsman somewhere in Europe or United States, or let's say Cremona, the capital of violin making in the world. So a craftsman in Cremona will spend 200, 300 hours crafting just one instrument. At the same time, any decent factory will produce 500,000 instruments a year, which means 1,404 violins every day. Now, that is the competition nowadays, today. There was no such competition even 20 years ago. That is the competition today. How do you cut through that? Without a story, an instrument maker, an artist, a musician is one per minute. With a story, one is a one of a kind, if that makes sense. And this is where I leverage my PR, because these few minutes when I'm blessed having the chance to share my story with somebody and inspire them through that story, this is where I will definitely use 2-3 seconds to mention that part of my success story, be the PR. So that's one way, and probably most efficient way.
Yes, that's such an important point, Dmitry, because, not just for artists, but any business owners, things have changed so much in the previous years. Yes. It's not enough just to be a faceless brand anymore. People want to know who they're working with. People resonate with those stories. And that is the very thing that's going to put you at the absolute top of whatever industry that you're in. Really good point.
That's amazing what you mentioned now. That just kind of made me think about other thing, a mistake I was making. So, for example, there was a period when I did not have a story brand, my story, my crafted story of my life, like really condensed into just a couple of minutes. I didn't have that. But what I had PR. So you put this PR on your website. That's what I was doing. Sometimes even in the footer of my emails. But does that really work? And I believe that it does work to an extent, because it's better than no positioning at all. Definitely, it is better. But then if you put yourself in the shoes of the people that you want to inspire, people whose lives you want to change, how they might think about you. They might be looking at you, wow, Luana, you are all over the place. You are on Forbes, you are on NBC, you are on Telegraph, you are on The Guardian. Of course, this is because this is you. I'm no one like this. I will never achieve this kind of things. And that is where story brand is so important. It is during that story that entrepreneur or an artist or a musician have the chance to share with the audience that they have actually not always been on Forbes or the Business Innovators. Not always. There have been some drawbacks, some setbacks, you know. And then it was a journey of transformation for you. And it is beautiful to take your potential client, a person that you want to inspire, on that journey of transformation, where you are talking about yourself in this journey. But the magical thing is, when they are listening to your story, they see themselves in your story. And they think and they feel like, wow, if you could do this, why can't I?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so easy, isn't it, to look at other people and to think that it's, you know, that's for somebody else, and to think that you're so far away. But sometimes we forget that they were in that position themselves. Yeah. So that's a really, really good point. So what have you been doing with these pieces? So you've been going out, you've been getting your interview, and then what I've noticed is that you've been using these pieces very powerfully to bring them into your ecosystem. So using them as part of your social media to keep your existing audiences warm as well. So as well as reaching whole new people with your story, you're also using your pieces to warm up your existing audience and to get, you know, to bring them closer to you as well.
Yes, of course. That's a very important part of the whole marketing process. Because definitely there are some people who have heard about you and they know they need a solution. They know you have the solution. So they come to you, they are already sold, and you don't have to do any selling. So they come and they buy your services. Fantastic. But then there are way more people who are not just ready yet. So these people want to take time to learn more about you, to feel how they feel about you, realize that, yes, actually there is a problem and actually you have the solution. So it's important to have a connection with these people and provide more and more and more tips and tricks and value in whatever form possible. The more, the better. And I discovered that for myself and for a number of amazing entrepreneurs, video, podcasting, spoken content is the easiest way to create that powerful content and connect with people through that medium, through a video or audio or podcast. It's just so much more powerful, so much more personal than typed content. And it's also easier.
People feel like they know you, don't they? It's like they feel like they know you. They may never have spoken to you, never have met you, but they feel like they do because they've seen you so much. And also it's that endorsement as well by a brand that they already recognize. And that is so powerful. And that's something that really cuts through.
Exactly. It's very powerful, and it's exactly the thing that really cuts through. It's just very important that an artist is aware, or an entrepreneur for that matter, is aware about their customers, their potential customers' buying cycle. As I mentioned, some are ready to buy immediately, some buy later. And it happens all the time because my pipeline is so full and so rich. It happens all the time. People reach out to me and they tell, well, Dmitry, I've been following your videos for years now. Now I want to buy your stuff. And imagine if there was no such a thing as content where they would learn more about what I do. I would be nowhere. And that's exactly the problem with a vast majority of artists, musicians, instrument makers. Just it's not that people don't care about them. No, people care, but would care if they knew that you even exist. But if they don't know that you exist, how they can care or not care?
Exactly. And let's translate that, to any business owner as well. There's only going to be a few people who are ready to buy there and then. Now, the mistake that a lot of people make is they focus solely just on those people, where most people need a lot more warming up. Now, I truly believe, Dmitry, that, one of the biggest parts of your success that's contributed towards it is your ability to take action and to leap with that, probably before you even feel ready. You just do it. But most people aren't like that. Most people will keep telling themselves, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. And it's something that I hear time and time again.
Yeah.
And, know, so I'm more like you as well, Dmitry. I tend to just dive and I it works out. Yeah. I either learn or it's worked. So either of those to me feels better than just constantly being stuck in this loop. So, I admire that quality about you, but most people do need more time to warm up. So it is important that we've got all of these content pieces there. And what more powerful than when you're showing up, on something, on an outlet where they know the people that you're talking to, or they know that brand already very well. It's like a recommendation from a friend because they already recognize that brard. Yeah. Really powerful stuff.
Yeah, it's very powerful stuff. And here, the words of Grant Cardone come to my mind. I think he wrote it in his 10X book, where he says that the number one killer to an entrepreneur is obscurity. And one has to cut through obscurity. And very sadly, lots of people, probably majority of people, just underestimate the amount of effort it takes to build success.
Yeah.
So it's
it's whatever you think it is times that by about 100. And then you're about halfway there, maybe. It's so true. And, as I've gone up levels in business, I've always thought, that I'm doing everything. And then all of a sudden, a whole new level opens up.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. What would you say to people who want to be seen? They want to get their message out there to millions of people. They want to draw their people in, but they keep telling themselves that they're not ready, or something isn't quite right, or, they keep talking themselves out of it. What would you say to those people?
There is a story I want to share with you. It's a beautiful story. A couple of years ago, I was crossing the Atlantic Ocean on a beautiful sailing boat. And there were many days and many nights when you couldn't see any land, any lights, like artificial lights. And especially by night, you would see only the Milky Way, nothing else. No,
amazing.
Complete darkness, Milky Way. And sometimes dolphins would chase you, or the flying calamari or flying fish. And there would be this fireworks around the sailing boat. You would not see the dolphins because completely dark, black, totally black. But you would see their silhouettes because they excite plankton. And when they jump out from the water and plunge back into the water, it's like a boom, like fireworks of this eerie, beautiful green, blue color of plankton, and the sky, the Milky Way. And you have to keep the course. Hey, you have to keep the course, and with absolute precision, because a mistake of 1 degree means that you will end up in a completely wrong country or completely wrong continent. So how do you do this? You do it by navigating your boat on the star. Well, of course, there is a compass. Of course, there is an electronic navigation system, but it is very tiring to just watch onto the navigation system. The best way is to have that star in front of yourself. and just drive the boat on that star. So what I've learned from this is people really need to have that high goal, high ideal that is their guiding star, and just keep going in that direction. Because when you don't see the land around yourself, and in the life, it's a little bit sometimes like that, because you don't know where you will arrive, because you don't see the end of life. Like you don't see the end of the ocean. You don't see that island where you're going to. You see just ocean. And life is the same thing. So how do you not get lost? You need that very, very high ideal to guide yourself towards that ideal. And here's the thing. So once you have that ideal, let yourself be guided by that vision of your future self, fulfilling that ideal, whatever you want to achieve in your life, rather than by what you have learned already from the past. You have tried this, didn't work. You have tried that, didn't work. You wake up in the morning and you know that your spouse is in depression and is not going to support, or your ideas will call you a dreamer. You know that you go to your workplace and you see all these people, negative people who don't accept you. You bump into your next customer and you know that you're not going to buy because whatever, you don't know how to handle objections. So all these things, they led them to learning that they are not ready. But what if these people let themselves be guided not by these experiences of the past, especially not so useful experiences of the past, but that vision of their future self when they have actually arrived? Wow. That is where people have wings all of a sudden, opening, and they can soar in the sky and actually really do that, really commit and do that, because now they have this powerful guidance that is in their own minds, and they know there's nothing and no one can stop them from achieving it. They just have to go long enough in the same direction, which is what you do when you're crossing the ocean, by the way. You just have to keep in the same direction for long enough, guided by this high ideal, that star, and you will definitely arrive in the right spot, guaranteed.
Dmitry, absolutely brilliant. Yes. Right. Where can people find you? I'm going to finish on that powerful story there so that we can let that sink in, everyone. So Dmitry, where can everyone find you?
Well, musicians seeking to fulfill their musical dreams and aspirations and interested in the next concert grade instrument can find me on badiarovviolins.com. That is my family name, then violin. So there will be 2 V's in the domain name. And instrument makers who want to create instruments and serve musicians in their area can find what I do and how I serve musicians and how I help them to get the instruments of their dream. They can find it on my other website, AuthenticInstrumentMakersAcademy.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much once again for joining me, Dmitry.
It was such a pleasure talking to you.
You are just an absolute shining light of wisdom and inspiration. You're absolutely fantastic.
That's all you are. It's really a blessing to chat to you and work together with you. Absolute blessing. Can be even more grateful for everything that we have done together in the past a couple of months. This is
only the beginning. Watch this space.
Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome, Dmitry. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.